This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.
The Lynx kick off a 4-game road trip today as they head to Phoenix to take on the Mercury. Tip-off is at 2:30 p.m. Catch every play, every bucket, and every big moment, as always, on the Lynx station on the free iHeartRadio app.
I will say this, Tenemy, about Luda. That's what I call ludicrous. We got a good vibe. You don't have to like him, but you got to respect him.
Exactly.
That's what I would say. Time now for 534.
Time now for 5 questions. Well, actually 3, but 5 sounds like more than 4. Question number 1.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score.
It's now time to delve deep into Twins territory.
Crack out a home run, shout a hit, hooray! Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
The Twins crushed the Cubbies 8-1 last night at Target Field. Ryan Jeffers went 3 for 4 with a homer. Willie Castro and Harrison Bader also went deep. Simeon Woods-Richardson pitched 5 scoreless innings, recorded his 3rd consecutive victory.
You got to be kidding me.
Common, what sticks out to you from last night's Twins win?
That I tried to get Rosen going. So we had the game on when Deuce got home from work. He actually went for a run by the old Lake Calhoun. I don't know how to say the new name of it. Do you? Beta.
Ska.
Whatever it's called. Anyway, he went for a run. He came home. He was having dinner. So he clicked on the game. And I watched the fireworks. They were up 2-0. They had back-to-back home runs. Hit 3 in one inning. I think the pitcher for the Cubs was somebody named Hodge, and he was just throwing up a hodgepodge of pitches, man. I mean, they were just teeing off on him like there was no tomorrow. And so the Twins get out to a big lead. So, Rosen was he was ripping the Twins yesterday. So I texted Rosen. I said, what do you think of the Twins club now? He goes, best seat in the house. Now string a series of them together. Then I said, well, you were ripping the club today. You doubted the Twins, and he went with tough love. So he's stealing my bit, going with the tough love covenant thing. But he said best seat in the house. So immediately I had Deuce freeze the TV so we could see the Champions Club to see if Rosen was sitting right behind home plate. I did not see him. But it only shows about 2 or 3 rows up, right? And it doesn't show I don't know how big the Champions Club is. It's not just directly behind home plate. It kind of spans out between the dugouts, I think, right? So Rosen could have been there, but I did not see him. But if you remember yesterday, he said he was going there with his daughter. So that's the only thing that really stands out for me. Other than they hit some home runs, and they were monsters. There was 2 that went second deck. Including the one by the Bader kid. And if you think he was excited on his squeeze butt to win it on Sunday or whatever, you should have saw him yesterday. That kid celebrates like there is no tomorrow. He's pretty excited about himself. He's pretty high.
He's had lots of celebratory moments this season as well.
He really has. You and I have talked about this. It's Bader and who's the other guy? France? Is that his name?
Ty France, yeah.
These are 2 guys that we acquired just before the season started. And they've been, it seems like, I don't have the numbers in front of me, they seem like they've been 2 of the most productive players on the club. So, yeah, nice to get a win. And the Simeon Woods-Richardson, I mean, I doubted him. I said they're bringing him back up, 4? And you basically said, well, he was okay. And you were right. I was wrong because I thought, well, there was a reason they sent him down to St. Paul. So I didn't expect him to be able to return to the thrilling days of yesteryear. But he's been, for a number, 4 or 5 starter, I think he's filled that role admirably to this point. So,
Follow-up question.
Follow-up questions.
According to John Morosi, starting pitcher Joe Ryan is being monitored by, quote, a number of teams as a potential trade candidate. Morosi notes that the Red Sox are among the teams monitoring Ryan's availability. Common, should the Twins trade Joe Ryan? So Joe Ryan, currently your best starting pitcher without Pablo Lopez, healthy, right-handed pitcher, putting up great numbers, snubbed from the All-Star team.
Oh, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I am familiar with him. Well, if you look at the whole roster of the Twins, if you were a contending team or a team that thought you had a chip in a chair and a chance and you wanted to acquire some help, I think Joe Ryan would be number one on the list because really, if you pitch and play defense, you give yourself a chance to win the ball game. I think particularly in postseason play, because you and I have talked about this, that once you weed out the terrible teams in the terrible cities with the terrible fans and the terrible stadiums, and you get the best teams in baseball in postseason, usually one of the reasons those teams made postseason is because they have quality starting pitching, and it's quality starting pitching generally beats quality offense. And so I think Joe Ryan would be number one in that list. I don't even know if, with Pablo Lopez injured, I don't know. And I don't know if I think Joe is kind of, he seems to be getting better every year, right? And not that I think Lopez is just real consistent. He's, what you see is what you get. He's quality. I'm sure there would be teams interested in him, but I think Ryan would be that guy teams would inquire about as far as starting pitching. Everyday players, I don't know if there's many guys on the Twins. I guess Buxton, right? Bader, the way he's playing, what team wouldn't want to add a guy like that? Because he's pretty good defensively, I think, too. So, but if I'm the Twins, no, I don't want to trade good pitching. I don't want to do that. We did that with was it Barrios? Did we trade Barrios, or did he just leave via free agency?
No, we traded him.
Santana left via free agents, or did we trade him?
We traded him.
Yeah. See, it's like, well, why? You don't trade good pitching. It's good pitching's at a premium. I mean, that's what you need to win. So, no, I wouldn't want to trade him. But we've talked.
The reason they would trade him is probably financially, right, because they're going to have to pay him here in the next year or two.
No, I get that. Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying I wouldn't trade him. Yeah,
I'm with you. Yes.
Yeah, we know the reason why the Twins won't is because they don't pay for pitching. They never have, and they never will. Yeah.
Question number 2. And now it's time to go in the trenches.
The odds makers at Bet Online have sent us some odds that may be of interest to us. They have sent us odds for the NFL's passing yardage leader for the 2025 season. Joe Burrow is the favorite at 11-2. Dak Prescott next at 9-1. Your guy Jared Goff and Pat Mahomes are both 10-1. Baker Mayfield 11-1. Brock Purdy, C.J. Stroud, and Michael Penix are 12-1. Josh Allen 14-1, and then Matthew Stafford and Trevor Lawrence are both 18-1. By the way, your guy J.J. McCarthy 28-1. Common, who would you bet to be the NFL's passing yardage leader in 2025?
Rattle off those first couple of names again.
Burrow, Prescott, Goff, Mahomes, Mayfield, Purdy.
I would say Burrow. I know that's the easy out, but he's got Jamar Chase. He's got Higgins too, right? Or
Higgins.
T. Higgins. And he can spin it.
He can.
He can really spin it. And I know they got off to you brought it up the other day when we were talking about division, or whatever you call that, and we were talking about the NFC or the AFC East or whatever they're in. And they got off to that bad start last year. But that was defensive. Offensively, they can play, and Burrow's terrific. I love him. I would say he's the odds-on favorite. Why are they so high? Why are they so high on Dak? Why am I not a big Dak Prescott?
Well,
I've never been a big Dak Prescott.
I think passing yardage leader is not necessarily the same as quality quarterback play. So to me, there's a couple variables that have to go in place for you to be the passing yardage leader. One, you have to be a competent quarterback. Two, helps to have some quality receivers to catch it. And then three, you need to have an awful defense. Because to rack up passing yardage, you need to be constantly trying to throw in the second halves of games, trying to come back, right? Like J.J. McCarthy didn't put up a lot of passing yards at Michigan because he barely threw the ball in second halves of games because they were up so much. So That's why Joe Burrow is kind of this. That's why he's the favorite, because 1, he's a good quarterback. 2, he's got Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. 3, his defense was putrid last year. So they were playing catch up so often. So he was the passing yards leader last year, though. I think it's been a while since someone's gone back to back.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
My value bet for it is going to be Trevor Lawrence at 18-1. Because he's got now Brian Thomas Jr. was a stud rookie last year. He'll be year number 2. They got Travis Hunter in the draft. So he's got some quality pass catchers. And I think that defense is going to be bad. And he's basically this is a prove-it year for Trevor Lawrence. Like, if he doesn't get it done this year, he's going to eventually start being one of those Baker Mayfield types that pops up on free agency and tries to get picked up by one of the bottom 4 teams. So that's my value bet is Trevor Lawrence this year at 18-1.
And that's it for today's edition of 5 Questions. Well, actually, 3 questions, but 5 sounds like more than 4.
Tennessee, when we do Peek at the Pros Thursday, on Friday we should do another edition of it and call it What's Up with the Wannabes. That would be the way to say it.
I like that one.
What's Up with the Wannabes? We'll take a look at that Pro-Am tournament with the Currys and all the others. That's 534, as you just heard. Tennessee's got a keyword.
The Fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword bonus at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. The keyword is bonus. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Hot days, humid nights, and non-stop plans. All that heat can increase hair shedding, while a packed schedule can add stress, which can impact your hair. Nutrafol's whole-body approach and clinically tested formulas support your hair from within, so you can focus on living your best life all summer long.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand trusted by over 1.5 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
Thinning hair is different for men and women, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas for men and women that are tailored to different life stages, such as postpartum or menopause, and lifestyle factors, such as a plant-based lifestyle, so you can get just what you need. Plus, users of Nutrafol men reported no impact to sexual performance.
Thank goodness. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy. In a clinical study, 84% of men showed improvement in their hair after 6 months taking Nutrafol Men Hair Growth Supplement, and 90% of women saw overall improvement in their hair after taking Nutrafol Women Hair Growth Supplement for 6 months.
Building a hair growth routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed. Enjoy free shipping, automated deliveries, and up to 20% savings with Nutrafol subscription. Plus, get free naturopathic doctor consults and a Headspace meditation membership.
Start your hair growth journey with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering listeners $10 off your first month subscription. Free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com. Enter promo code CULTURISTAS.
Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com. Spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code CULTURISTAS. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code CULTURISTAS.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.
The ultimate day of heavy metal is almost here. Don't miss out on Summer of Loud.
Heavy metal.
Summer of Loud 2025 at Somerset Amphitheater on July 11th with performances by Parkway Drive,
Parkway Drive,
I Prevail, Beartooth, and more. Get full show and ticket details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Have you seen Kara lately?
I saw her earlier today.
Because she wanted to get me one of those regulators.
Yeah.
And
Mount up.
I gave her my credit card. I don't have it. Did she?
And you don't have a drink yet either?
No, I have the drink.
Oh.
But I think she I just texted her because I have this little leather credit card holder case. It's got a credit card, a debit card, and my driver's license in it. Those three items slide into it perfectly. It's leather. So you just keep it in your pocket. So, and I gave it to her, and I don't have it back.
Do we know where she was when Dallas Turner lost $240,000?
Wait, hold on. Give yourself a rim shot. Well, here's what I'm concerned with. I think really what it is Abbott already hid my lunch today, and now he probably said, take the credit card thing and don't give it back to him, and just wait for him to come running back here for her.
In a panic.
In a panic. I am kind of panicking now. The lunch is one thing. My credit card. The debit card's not going to do much good. There's not much. Have I told you about my checking account?
No.
It's down to $65,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
You okay? You need help?
No, I'll get through it. If I can just get it to the next payday, I think I could be all right. Somebody sent me a text, courtesy of our Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. And here it is. It reads as follows. Guys, Corey Cove is 15 spots from cashing in the main event.
Oh my gosh.
He's short stacked, but should survive. Day 4 starts at 2 p.m. Thanks, Mike and Chaska. Is this like poker tournament at Treasure Island?
No, World Series of Poker.
Oh, come on.
The main event.
Boy, if he's that close to getting to the... Man, I should get into this poker business, man. You've played cards against Corey before, I'm sure, right?
I have.
How good is he?
He's fine.
Do you think you're a better poker player than he is?
I haven't played in a long time. Probably a little rusty. At the time we were playing, I would consider myself better, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why aren't you out there?
Because he has more time on his hands, apparently.
In big fat stacks of initial games provided cash, too. Well, there's that.
He's a quality player. He's smart. He's analytical.
What's cashing in the main event? What does that mean, cashing?
So in every poker tournament, and I'm just going to use 10,000 people as the number. I don't know how many people are in the World Series of Poker. Let's say 10,000 people are in the World Series of Poker. All 10,000 of those have to put down a $10,000 entry to get into the tournament. Usually 10% of the top 10% of every poker tournament cash. Right? So if there was 10,000 people in the tournament, if you get into the top 1,000, you're making money. You're at least getting your money back.
Okay.
And I think I saw for the World Series of Poker, it's a $10,000 entry. If you cash, you're at least getting $15,000. So once you get into that cut line. And then from that point on, from let's say the 1,000 all the way to first, every spot you move up, you will increase the amount of money you're making.
I see.
So yeah, he could make hundreds of thousands. I think 10 million is for first place. So
what?
He's in the mix to win $10 million. Yeah.
$10 million for first place?
Yeah.
Is this the, who are some of those legendary names that I've heard before in poker? What are you know them?
Well, I don't know the new generation, but for my generation, Phil Ivey.
Yeah, Phil Ivey, right.
Daniel Negreanu.
Right.
Doe Brunson, rest in peace.
Slim Pickens.
Phil Hellmuth.
Yeah.
Johnny Chan.
Poncho and Lefty.
Chris Moneymaker.
That's a fake name, right?
That was his real name.
Yeah.
He's basically responsible for the poker boom.
Really?
Because he was like an average guy playing against pros in the World Series of Poker that was being televised on ESPN. And his victory kind of set off the boom of all the amateurs in the world thinking they could play professional poker.
Well, they can, because it's all luck.
They can.
It's the luck of the cards.
It's not all luck, but...
Well, most of it. We've had this discussion before.
There's a heavy amount of luck in one tournament, yes.
Yeah, because if I get dealt pocket aces, I'm probably winning. You're not going to bluff me out.
Yeah, but your skill can determine how much you win, whether you're winning a little or a lot.
Well, yeah, you can either pretend you don't have anything right away and then pretend on the flop you got something and then wonder what it is. I mean, I know how it's all done. Yeah. Well, how can we? Is Cove? This is on TV somewhere, right? Or is it not yet? Do they have to get to the final before they start?
I'm assuming it's being streamed somewhere, but it's not like there's still tons of tables, right? It's not like you can just focus on the one table. But
when can we?
I can see if
we watch Cove on TV?
Get Zacho out there to set up some sort of stream. KFAN.com/watch.
Does Cove? Does he wear sunglasses when he plays?
I don't believe so.
Did you wear sunglasses when you played?
No.
I wear sunglasses, guys. Well, I wear sunglasses at night. I'm Corey Hart. Corey Cove, Corey Hart, same thing. Well, good luck to
go get him.
Good luck to Cove. Well, what's the morning show consist of right now? Is it just sauce and hockey? Or are they all out in Vegas? Are they all out in Vegas right now doing shows? Rooting them on.
Well, I mean, if he gets to the main table, we got to go out there, don't we?
Yeah.
We got to get the entire station broadcasting.
How many at the main table? Is it 8 or 7?
Probably 9 or 10 or 11.
What was that, Benny? Main table. How cool would that be? Well, best of luck to him. Let's break. We'll come back. Somebody that's not in the World Series of Poker. But we'll be here in studio. He's Brian Oake. ROK Talk. That's coming up next here on the Common Man program on the Fan.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.
Man.
It's game time, soccer fans. Join us and Michelob Ultra for the Ultimate Club World Cup viewing party Sunday, July 13th from 12 to 2 at the local in downtown. Enter to win lots of great prizes, all while enjoying $4 Michelob Ultra pints and 5 for 25 neutral buckets. Don't miss out. We'll see you at the local on July 13th.
Someone just texted me and said they spotted Kara on 50th in France. She had forgot to give me my credit card back. She still had it. Do you think she forgot or she was hoping I would forget?
I think it's logical you would forget.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. I'm having a regulator.
You know what? I know. I've heard you talk all about it. It's weird to be. It's a privilege and an honor, obviously, to be part of the Grum, but also being seriously, but also you know how I feel about it.
Yeah,
but also being a member of the Commonwealth and listening every day, and then suddenly being a small part of this story that started out with another opportunity for you to prove that you are the king of the eastbound Richards by promoting and supporting the 394-94 slip-in like some kind of dirty dog. Like, it's not the Wild West. There are rules. There are signs, Common. There are rules. If you are still in that middle lane by the time we get to Penn, I will crash my car before I let you get in front of me over into the right lane.
Geico.
There's people coming from the other direction, man. You can't zoom in over there.
Do you have Geico, Progressive,
State Farm. State Farm.
I wish you had. I wish you had Allstate because I'm. What is Allstate guy's name? Chaos? No.
What?
The guy that's Mayhem.
Oh, Mayhem.
Because
yeah.
I am Mayhem.
Yeah, you are. From Mayhem, like me. Yeah, and you're proud of it, too.
Yeah. Well, I'm just really good at it.
No, nobody's really good at it.
Well, there's like two of us that can probably pull that off. There's probably two people that can pull off the 394 quick slip and seamlessly. That would be me and Goggles Paisano.
Okay. What about Mario Andretti?
Nah, he might.
No? Sacco and Vanzetti?
But they would be on a bicycle built for two.
Understood. And again, I don't want to talk about it at all, really. I just had to bring it up because the 394-94 slip-in is really sort of at the foundation of your and my on-air relationship.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Yeah. I used to have to drive it every day, and as it got worse and worse, I knew who to blame.
You're also known as the angel of death, because oftentimes when we have you on Rock Talks, because those rock stars of the era that we really, really enjoy,
people of import,
they're starting to get really old.
Mm-hmm. There's not another one, is there? Did I miss it?
No, but expect to be busy. Well, but just because I stumbled across a list. No, because think of this now. If I'm fortunate to be here for the next few years, and you still are willing to come in and share time with me. Mm-hmm. Paul McCartney's 83, Ringo Starr's 85, Mick Jagger 81, Keith Richards is 81, Roger Daltrey 81, Pete Townsend 80, Roger Waters 81, David Gilmour 79, Nick Mason 81, Clapton is 80, Van Morrison 79, Ray Davies 81, Eric Burden's 84, Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. Stephen Stills is 80. Nash is 83. Young is 79. Robbie Krieger, 79. John Densmore, 80. Roger McGuinn, 82. And Bob Dylan, 84.
Well, now...
This could be like...
And think about it, that's only the superstars.
Yes.
Like, I mean, those, every single person you rattled off is a genuine superstar of renown.
Rock Hall of Famer in most cases.
Oh, I think every single case, unless I misheard.
Yeah, I think everyone is a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And they, and so think about all the people who are second tier, but still great, that are also going to be on that list. I mean, rock and roll's been around long enough that we're watching it age out, we're seeing it disappear. So it's, not disappear, but you know what I mean. The original guard, the vanguard, moving on. And, it's unfortunately probably going to be a busy time in the next few years.
Yes. You were at Taste of Minnesota.
I was, in fact. So here's the thing. I'm about to say a bunch of really nice things about the Taste of Minnesota, but the one thing I want to start out with, I don't know who's doing their advertising or promotion. They need to be, I'm really glad they're back, no matter what form they're taking. I'm glad they're giving it another go. But I did not hear about Taste of Minnesota, and I pay attention. I'm on the internet all the time. I watch plenty of local TV. I did not hear about Taste of Minnesota until 3:00 on Friday afternoon, or on Saturday afternoon. And I saw that somebody posted that they were going down to see Cheap Trick and Joan Jett. I was like, whoa, okay, I guess I didn't. And it was free. So I'm like, I'll take a shot. If I can get within, 5 blocks of parking for less than $50, I'll do it. Went down, parked, and went in. It is a free show. You didn't have to get tickets in advance, but you did have to get there before it hit capacity. They were in that huge open lot by the library downtown. Okay. And lines were long, but there was tons of food, plenty of porta potties, which is always a plus, and a good vibe there. It wasn't crazy, and you could get up and get beverages if that was your scene or whatever. I liked the relaunch, and musically, they got some incredible gets this year. I saw Cheap Trick, who I had not seen in a long time, since the State Fair back in 2019.
Do they do Hang On Loosely? Hang On Loosely? Or have my bands confused? No, I mean,
Don't Let Go?
Yeah, Don't Let Go.
If you cling to, that's 38 Special.
38 Special.
Yeah, but I also love 38 Special. Actually, I saw Cheap Trick open up for ZZ Top at the State Fair.
Cheap Trick does I Want You to Want
But a zillion other great songs. They really are one of America's foundational power pop bands. They're great.
Tell me if I'm correct, because this was they were out of my wheelhouse. It wasn't my cup of tea, but weren't they like first huge in Japan before they were huge in the United States?
Well, they were actually really pretty healthily huge here as well. But I mean,
loved them in Japan because wasn't that
live at Budokan?
Yeah, the live at Budokan.
That's where we get that live version of "I Want You to Want Me" that everybody knows. Okay. And but they had a ton of other great songs. Surrender, Mommy's all right, your daddy's all right. Nothing.
No, I will tell you this. You don't have to like Cheap Trick, but you have to respect them.
Well, you absolutely do have to respect them. Anyway, as far into the game as they are, out of Aurora, Illinois, man. Or Rockford, Illinois? Rockford, Illinois. Anyway, they sounded fantastic, but I really went down for Joan Jett because somehow with all the shows I've seen over the years, that's a blind spot in my experience. I've never seen Joan Jett. No, that's Queen. No, Joan Jett, I love rock and roll.
Rock and roll song.
Exactly. And she does, but I mean, she's also got a bunch of bangers in her catalog, and I don't know how old she is, but she looked fantastic. She sounded great. Her band was killer. People were fist pumping in the crowd to her music. It was a free show, man, but I didn't hear about it till 2 hours before it all started, and there was music before that. So better promotion for it, but everything else about this relaunch was great. I was only there on day one. I did not go on day two.
Is that Luda?
It was Luda, and it was hot enough.
Nerdy, local guy.
Nerd. And he's great, by the way. I've had him on the podcast. I've had him on a radio station I worked at. He's hyper intelligent and really hard worker, but also just a super fun, easygoing guy. And he's talented, which I guess is really the most important part when you're talking about an entertainer. But Nerdy's great. And then Ludacris, I wanted to make sure and talk about this because I think this is an area where I'm pretty sure Tenna B and I are going to bond. Because Tenna, you're a Ludacris guy, yeah?
He's okay.
Okay.
I'm lukewarm on Ludacris.
Interesting. Well,
he was pretty big though back in for my generation.
He had 2 number 1 hits.
Lukewarm Chris. No. Sorry.
2 number 1 hits. The guy had 3 albums in a row go multi-platinum. So for this Taste of Minnesota, even though this guy's well past his prime, it's a good get. You know, I mean, he also he was the guest for the featured rapper on what is it, Babyface that does Hey? Who does Hey? Why am I spaced out? Usher.
Usher.
You mean yeah?
Yeah, hey, whatever, man. I'm down with what the kids are into. But also a little song by Justin Bieber called Baby, basically the coming out party and launching off point for his delightful career. But no, Ludacris is a huge deal. And so the big complaint was on Sunday that you couldn't get in. And you didn't have to have tickets. But here's the deal. You get an artist that big and that popular, that kind of legacy, people are going to want it for free. People are going to want to see it. And so that was my other complaint.
You got to get there early then.
Well, you didn't. It's exactly. So you didn't have to have tickets, but the security lines were very long, even on Saturday when I went. And apparently, you know, I mean, they have to have a capacity rule. And so that's good for the Taste of Minnesota that they hit max capacity. But, you know, there were a lot of very vocal, frustrated people who were not able to get in.
Generally, when a rock star or a rock band says, "It's our final farewell show," I never believe it.
Right.
In the case of Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath, I believe it. Ozzy has Parkinson's, correct?
Yep.
And so it's like for him to perform live anymore is getting to be to the point where he can't do it. And so apparently the original,
all 4 original members
played in a concert this weekend, this past weekend. And from what I understand, it was it was in his hometown. 40,000 people showed up for it.
Exactly. And when you include the streaming numbers for live, because obviously not everybody can travel over to the UK, when worldwide it was streaming, this is being billed as, and possibly so, the single greatest convergence of important heavy metal that's ever happened. Because this was it. This was the big tribute and fond farewell, but a ton of other people played. And according to Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, but a million other projects, and here working with a super group that performed at this farewell show, he said that they raised $190 million for these 3 specific charities.
Wow.
Now, the Live Nation came back and said those numbers need to be amended, but understand that we did raise a huge amount of money for some pretty great local, charities over in the UK. So it was apparently kind of a big deal.
Black Sabbath. Heavy metal.
Yep.
Are they is that where it kind of started or not necessarily?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a
He
different...
would be the godfather, though, right?
Oh, Mount Rushmore for sure.
Yeah.
If we're talking about the early founding fathers of heavy metal, without question. Right. There are just other people who'd be like, this band was doing that kind of sound first, and maybe it was the MC5, or maybe it was even the Beatles with Helter Skelter and stuff like that. But heavy metal, as we still understand it today, absolutely. Black Sabbath is one of the foundational pillars for sure.
And I was never heavy metal, that harder guitar and grind. It never like the Megadeths and
and metal
Metallica. None of those bands do anything for me. But I will tell you this.
Go.
There are a handful of Black Sabbath songs that are truly brilliant.
My God.
I mean...
Well, over the years, I'm really surprised because War Pigs, I don't know if it had a product placement or it was in a certain show that went viral or what, but the song War Pigs is a very dirgy, long, horrible lament about man's inhumanity to man and war. And it's everywhere these days. You can hear it on overheads in stores. And I love it. So, especially that early Sabbath, once we get to Ozzy's solo stuff, stuff, I'm not even a little bit interested. But those first 3-4 records from Black Sabbath are pretty great.
Well, I remember as, growing up in the Haight-Ashbury days, just to hear, I am Iron.
And then that impossible. Yeah, just, and Ozzy was never what you would call a great vocalist, but he was a supreme Darksider working class frontman. And, he did the spooky stuff. And then after a while, it became kind of cartoonish, not unlike Alice Cooper. But early on, they were about, look at the cover of their debut self-titled release, done in all those scary acid-taking tones, but like the dark pinks and the blacks and a cloaked figure hiding out next to a barren tree. They were into the spooky stuff, man.
Yeah.
I loved them.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge deal. Everybody played, and one of the big things, the controversies, the rumors swirling around is that Sharon Osbourne, who is the sort of Svengali and runs his whole empire for him, that she kicked off one band off of the itinerary, but it's never been revealed, and people are still, anybody in rock circles or metal circles, still talking about it this day, wondering what legendary band was not allowed.
Jay from Boats and Beyond, my pal up in Brainerd, writes, could you ask Oak about a song called The Nile by Pink Floyd? In my opinion, the first hardcore heavy metal song ever written. Not sure if he will even know it, or maybe you do.
First of all, Jay, how dare you? Okay. Second, no, I'm just joking. Yeah. It hits really hard. Waters' vocals on that are very, very rock. It's absolutely, without question, a hard rock song. Is it a heavy metal song? Again, this is where the esoterics and descriptors come in.
Sure.
It depends on what you put on it. I'm not mad at him for drawing that line, but I can't call it heavy metal, but it's absolutely a hard rock song, and one of the songs that really highlights just the kind of breadth that Pink Floyd had along its career, that they could do literally anything, like Led Zeppelin. By the way, if you have not seen, sorry to interrupt, but if you have not seen that latest documentary, Becoming Led Zeppelin,
I have not.
Eye-opening. From wee little babes all the way through their varied careers, which are fascinating. You're going to love that part about all their different session work, how they actually ended up together as a band, and then it sort of chronicles their, well, you say overnight success, but they'd all been at it for decades. Their overnight success of the first two albums, Led Zeppelin and Led Zeppelin 2, and that's where it kind of cuts off. But it is, for someone like you and anybody who's interested in Led Zeppelin, or just how weird and unusual and tangential and coincidental things can be when it comes to what we just assume we're always superstars. It's a great movie. I really liked it.
And they will be the feature act at US Bank Stadium for the
that's a good idea. U.S. Bank Stadium made an announcement that our Live Nation specifically made the announcement that one of the biggest shows in Minnesota history is coming to U.S. Bank Stadium. So this is basically the tease for the tease for the tease, and it's going to keep building up, and everybody, including you and I, are talking about it right now. I was just talking to Rosen about it in the elevator. Is it Paul McCartney? Because he's been here before, and he was great at Target Field. I went that night after being on your show that day. I hadn't bought tickets, and whoever the mailman guy is that listens to you in this area said he would sell his tickets because his wife couldn't go. And I had a great time at that show. But Paul's been here before, so one of the biggest. But, who else is in that strata? You saying a fully reunited, obviously with the exception of John Bonham, Led Zeppelin.
Why?
I would pay. Now, there are very few shows that I would drain the bank account. I would go see Led Zeppelin.
Why won't Robert Plant get to? Because I think the other surviving members have said they would. Unless I'm wrong.
No. Well, there were opportunities for them to reunite. There were opportunities for them to actually go on tour, and they were going to make. And they're all already richer than you can imagine, as the interviews in this Becoming Led Zeppelin documentary show them in their comfortable setting room with all this ancient Baroque furniture.
Right.
And, so they're doing just fine. But Robert Plant was doing his thing with Alison Krauss. And I don't know if it's just because he feels like he's an artist. I don't know why you'd ever shy away from those days, because you're literally one of the biggest and most influential bands in all of rock history. And I don't know. I wish they would. I don't know what the answer is to that today.
So let's say they announced that would be the biggest concert you could have, because it's been. When was the last time they were together?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Didn't they do something at the Queen's something or
Royal Command performance or something?
Like
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm sure someone can text
if they announced a limited 25 city tour I mean, tickets, they could pretty much charge whatever they wanted, right? Because people would. People would say,
and on the resale market, to see the 3 surviving members of Led Zeppelin on the resale market, I mean, between $5,000 and $10,000, easy. Easy. And now that's one of the few shows I might do it for. I wouldn't, but it's the closest I would ever come to considering spending that kind of money.
And of course it can't happen because
Bonham's gone.
Because, I was going to move on to a different band.
Oh.
Because Lennon and Harrison are both gone. But let's say they were both alive, and right now the Beatles said, we're going to, now you're talking tens of thousands of dollars for a ticket people would.
Oh, minimum. I mean, I don't.
There would be people out there that have the money, that their checking account's not down to $65,000, that they would pay tens of thousands of dollars to be there.
Oh, it's not even a thought. And I think people who really can't afford that kind of thrown around money would find a way to afford. I mean, you're talking about the most recognizable, influential, important, and talented rock band ever. So yes, I mean, I can see easily, luxury seats or the perfect seats, even at this day and age, even if they were all alive and at this age, I mean, $500,000 is not out of the question.
No,
there are people with that disposable income, and the Beatles, you're never going to see a show like that.
Well, I think I remember, before Lennon was murdered, there were stories, I've read this on several occasions. McCartney and Lennon were hanging out together in New York, and they were talking about on the show. I think who put Saturday Night Live together?
Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Michaels was talking about he wanted Lennon and McCartney, and they were in there and said, "Why don't we go down there?" They were actually talking as they're watching. They go, "Why don't we just go down there?" And
Have you seen the movie about this story?
No.
It's called Two of Us, named after the song of the same name, and it tells this exact story.
Okay.
They had this random chance meeting. They were hanging out. They were just messing around on their guitars. They saw Saturday Night Live had already started, and they were watching it, and they said, should we just pop down there? And they were going to, and now again, who knows if this is apocryphal or real, but in the movie, McCartney walks out of the room to go grab something, and when he comes back, Lennon, over the course of their conversation, has kind of come out of his shell, and he's the old John again, and they're having a great time together. He comes around the corner, when McCartney comes back in, Lennon's hunched over on the phone. He's like, "You're my whole world. My world is dark without you." Sort of pinning the blame on Yoko Ono, as people were very fond of doing, and then it just never happened. So that's at least the fictionalized account I saw.
Yeah. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. So,
I don't know who it's going to be, man. I mean, what else could be one of, is it Dylan? I don't know.
To me,
who's up
Bob
there?
Dylan's at the bank, right? I mean, Bob Dylan, you can see Bob Dylan tonight somewhere. He never doesn't tour. He's working.
That's true.
He was just down in Rose and saw him in Mankato.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always working somewhere. To me, it's got to be something, I think, and it might not even be a rock. Could it be a country and western?
It said one of the biggest shows. So, I mean, is it going to be the revival of Up With People? It's not Metallica. I've seen Metallica at US Bank Stadium, and it was a decent show. I wouldn't call it one of the biggest shows in Minnesota's history. That's the thing, is they put a really big tag on it, and they are getting us to talk about it, but you're going to have to deliver on that right there, Live Nation. Just saying. Also, whoever in charge of Taste of Minnesota, promote it better next year. Maybe buy a little ad time here on... Your home for the common man.
We could do it Rock Talk.
There we go. We'll sponsor Rock Talk by all means. I'll come down and help MC. You know who was down there as MC? Chef
MC
Zimmerman.
Hammer.
No. Don't you talk. One of my other things I like about Ludacris is, as an older guy, I fell in love with hip hop in the early 80s, and that's very old school compared to what it sounds like these days. But Ludacris kind of spanned that bridge. He had enough old school in him, but was absolutely 1 foot in the 21st century. I like Ludacris, but not enough to go down and fight the crowds.
What about your podcast?
What about my podcast?
You have one.
I do. It's called...
Are we at 500 yet?
Almost. Earlier today, I recorded episode 498 with local musician Mary Strand. There are 498 of those things in the can for people to listen to at their leisure. It is a show about the Twin Cities and surrounding area. 90% music, sometimes entrepreneurs, sometimes other types of artists. It could be anything. Political leaders we've had on, religious leaders. We just like to talk about this area we live in. We've been doing it for 5.5 years. And next week, episode 500, the Brian Oak Show podcast, available everywhere you've got your iHeartRadio app, which is literally everywhere since you can have it on your phone.
Will the 500th episode of the Brian Oak Show be as big as the concert that's coming to US Bank Stadium?
I would not say it's one of the biggest podcasts in Minnesota history.
I think it could be.
I will say, however, I know who the guest is going to be, and we haven't really planned like a big celebration for 500, but we're having one of the most intelligent, insightful, creative, and enjoyable guests I've ever had on the podcast.
I didn't know I was going to be on.
No, you're not. You're not. Well, maybe,
I thought
you know
you were
what?
describing me.
You know, with how quickly these have gone by, 600 will be here before you know it, and it's got your name penciled
Thank
right
you.
into
I appreciate
it.
600 sounds really good. So who is the guest? Are you announcing?
His name is, well, I mean, I can. He's not a household name. His name is Jeffrey Morris, and he is a writer, a filmmaker, an animator, a businessman. He is consumed with the notion of science and has been since he was a little boy. He just put out a documentary about his love. Do you remember the show Space 1999 that had Martin Landau from Mission Impossible
Yeah, I
on
know.
it?
I never saw it, but I know of it.
Well, so there's a ship on there. I think it's called the Eagle One. They have, and he wrote a documentary about his lifelong obsession with it. He's also got a ton of other projects in the works, and one of my all-time favorite guests on the podcast. So he'll be in next week. But again, in the meantime, do wet your whistle. We've got 498 episodes.
I'm not a death pool guy. I think it's kind of in bad taste. But those rockers that I announced, I read earlier.
Let's do that next week because I can't remember everybody you listed on there. There's some I can't believe are still alive. But Deadpool's all in good fun, right? Just in good, clean, morbid, Angel of Death style fun.
Why not?
I agree.
That's Brian Oake, the Angel of Death on Rock Talk. We appreciate it. We'll see you again soon.
All right, see you next week.
Mark Rosen's in next here on The Fan.
You don't need to be ripped. You just need the right shirt. Epic Fits gives you a clean, confident silhouette, snug on the arms, soft on the skin, generous where it counts. And with deals like $15 per tee, they won't break the bank. Visit epicfits.com today. Epic Fits. T-shirts that get it.